First at 5, 10 News with George Danikian and Natasha Belly.
Tonight, Easter carnage, a shocking death toll on the nation's roads.
Hostage fury, Bill Clinton fires off a warning to the Serbs.
President Milosevic should make no mistake. The United States takes care of its own.
And keeping faith. Congregations across the nation mark the death of Christ.
Good evening. Also tonight, compassion turns to assistance for a small town devastated by floods.
Yes, good evening. First tonight, though, Good Friday has become Black Friday with a horrifying start to Easter on our roads. Only 2 days into the holiday break and we've equalled last year's total. Worst hit has been New South Wales, with 15 people killed in a series of shocking accidents which have stunned the emergency service.
Calls with regards to engine failure.
Bureau of Air Safety investigators from Canberra this evening are examining the wreckage. First reports indicate the plane was relatively new.
It's a tragedy and it's very sad for a public holiday. It always happens.
Chelsea Lewis, 10 News.
Overseas and worldwide humiliation for the United States tonight. 3 of its soldiers have been captured and are facing court-martial in Serbia. Their seizure brought outrage from President Bill Clinton and emotional outbursts from their families.
A nightmare for Americans. 3 of their own, exhausted and bruised, paraded on Serb television, the men seized while on a reconnaissance mission. Families were traumatised.
We just pray and hope for their safe return, all 3 of them.
My family and I are very concerned about Chris. I'd like to take advantage of this opportunity to thank everyone for sharing their concerns and prayers for my son and us. It means a great deal to us all.
In an act of support, yellow ribbons and flags were displayed across the country.
I want him to know that we all are waiting for him home, safe and sound.
I just hope he comes home. I just hope he makes it safe with no harm to him.
The Commander-in-Chief had a blunt message.
President Milosevic should make no mistake. The United States takes care of its own.
The families say they're encouraged by President Clinton's words, but they face an agonising wait as Serb authorities plan to put the men on trial in the next 24 hours. Yugoslav authorities say the men will be treated humanely, but their release depends on a halt in the NATO bombing campaign, well into its 2nd week. That action no longer attracting unquestioning public support.
Maybe people will get mad like I did and decide that we should be involved.
In the United States, Pam Mackay, 10 News.
Meantime, the flood of refugees from Kosovo has become a tidal wave, pushed along now by Serb authorities ordering them into trains bound for the border.
Herded onto trains, Kosovo Albanians leave the capital Pristina in an endless stream. Their destination, the Macedonian border, left to walk the final few kilometres.
So many people, it was difficult to survive, very difficult. I thought I saw the death with my eyes.
Aid is arriving, but the makeshift camps are struggling to provide bare essentials.
I must appeal to the international community to undertake urgent steps to meet those requirements.
The escape route for others was by boat, ending up wet and cold on an Italian beach. But most of the refugees are in Albania.
They are forcing people to leave their houses. It is like genocide.
Some are being treated for injuries said to have been inflicted by Serb militias. There's no let-up in NATO's day and night bombardment, but there has been this frank admission.
Air power alone cannot stop paramilitary murder on the ground.
Damage on the ground in Serbia and Kosovo is now widespread, vital infrastructure hit, as well as residential areas. Belgrade says its casualty list is lengthening. And a propaganda coup for Slobodan Milosevic, meeting with a papal envoy, as well as a moderate Kosovo-Albanian leader, although Western diplomats claim these Serb TV pictures may be file footage. Andrew Bell, 10 News.
And the Pope has appealed for an Easter truce in the Balkans as he begins a hectic schedule of Holy Week services. With the Kosovo crisis weighing heavily on his mind, the Pontiff symbolically washed and kissed the feet of 12 priests in the Holy Thursday Mass. But NATO's failed to heed his call for a week-long truce.
Back home, and prayers for peace in the Balkans dominated church services across Australia. Their sombre note reflecting Good Friday's meaning.
Across the nation, a traditional solemn remembrance of the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ almost 2,000 years ago.
Behold the wood of the cross on which hung the Saviour of the world.
It marks the beginning of the holiest week on the Christian calendar, celebrating rebirth and religious faith. At Melbourne's St Patrick's Cathedral, ceremonies reflected the sadness of Christ's death before resurrection.
Lord God, when our world lay in ruins, you raised it up on the foundation of your Son's passion and death.
With Sydney's Anglican St Andrew's Cathedral under renovation, parishioners moved to the adjacent chapter house. In his Easter message, Sydney's Archbishop likened faith and death to the impending turn of the century.
Do we believe that at the end of our lives, God will accept us? It's almost like our own personal millennium bug.
And in the city of churches, some chose to show their faith outdoors, attending a hillside service.
To the mountain of the Lord.
Tim Mitchell, 10 News.
Thousands more mark Good Friday, reenacting Christ's crucifixion with stations of the cross marches in small towns and big cities.
Parishioners from all denominations shared in the ancient ritual of the Stations of the Cross. In Brisbane's Samford Valley, families reenacted the final moments leading to Christ's crucifixion.
Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.
For Christians, Easter is a time of remembrance, a time to give thanks for
What we believe in and what Jesus has done for us through his death and resurrection.
In Melbourne, hundreds of people marched in the annual carrying of the cross ceremony in Glen Waverley.
Come on, up on your feet.
The timber cross was erected on a hillside, a symbol of life and faith. In Frankston, even the family pet took part in the procession, the march culminating in an outdoor service.
When they came to the place called the Skull, there they crucified him.
And there was a sombre march through Sydney's central business district. Students from the Wesley Mission trailing behind the cross as it was carried through the pouring rain. Lisa Goddard Rolls, 10 News.
This is also the day when it seems all of Melbourne joins in the name of a good cause, the huge fundraiser in aid of the Royal Children's Hospital.
The appeal will help children like 4-year-old Kate Staten, who had a brain tumour removed last November and is now undergoing chemotherapy.
These guys are just like part of our family, and, you know, they're here for us and they're here for our family, and they care for Kate and they help us through the really hard times and the times when we just can't cope anymore.
Thousands of volunteers began collecting donations across Victoria early this morning. Power Rangers shook their cans at children and Star Trek enthusiasts dressed in their favourite outfits to attract drivers' attention.
It's going! It's going! It's sold!
Property developer Australand auctioned a house and land package for $180,000 and donated the proceeds to the appeal.
Look who we've got here! It's the Easter Bunny!
While the Easter Bunny toured hospital wards, staff were already planning how appeal funds would be spent. Half the money raised will be spent on heart-lung machines, dialysis machines and other equipment, while the other half will be spent on paediatric research. Last year's appeal raised $6.1 million and organisers are confident that this year's total will be even higher. Jo McKenna, 10 News.
Good Friday's had its lighter side, of course, from fish frenzy in one city to a rousing Russian rendition of an old Aussie favourite.
Easter started early for some. In the wee hours of this morning, hundreds hit the fish markets as soon as the doors opened to snaffle up some seafood. Prawns, the catch of the day.
Well, they started at 3 a.m. this morning and they've been coming at us all along. I mean, I expect today to be a big day.
From fish to fun, and kids at the new Children's Hospital in Sydney were treated to a Good Friday comedy show.
Keep moving your hands, Adrian, they may know.
But the juggler was no match for this furry creature, the Easter Bunny and its basket of eggs putting a smile on the dial of a number of sweet-toothed toddlers.
Happy Easter, Channel 10.
But in the tropics, they like to do things with a difference. Not Easter bunnies, but hot dogs. These feisty Fidos put through their paces in a canine Grand Prix. And from Russia with love, the internationally acclaimed Red Army Choir on hand to celebrate the arrival of Kyle James Bilson with his proud mum and dad. Kyle, the first Easter baby born at Brisbane's Royal Women's Hospital, was treated to his own personal piece of Aussie-flavoured perestroika. Andrew Kirk, 10 News.
More coming up with an Easter flavour soon, including the baby who just couldn't wait and our bunny competitor fighting for its life.
Also coming up, environmental disaster threatening Australian waters with Darwin's parasite mussel outbreak spreading fast.
And at 5:37, the computer, they say, knows wine better than your nose.
Journey to the Isle of Hidden Bounty.
All hands on deck! We're going on a treasure hunt.
It's a pirate's playground with Charlton Heston.
Captain Silver? Them that dies will be the lucky one.
Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island premieres 8:30 Saturday.
Need to fix the car? Well, at Kmart Tyre and Auto, you get professional service and attention backed by a nationwide guarantee. All while you do the shopping. So for convenient, complete car care, Kmart Tyre and Auto Service is just what you need.
Women the world over have discovered the secret of incredible body and shine. Now you can too. New Weller Experience contains ingredients found in real hair. Experience body and shine with New Weller Experience.
My love has gone away. The bottle stands forlorn, a symbol of the dawn. No milk today, it seems a common sight, but people pass by.
This is the whole
reason why. How could they know just what
Nobody
the
move.
message means? The end of my hopes, the end of all my dreams. How could they know the powers that have been behind the door?
It's a bigger than big Easter celebration.
Only at Super Amart.
Get no deposit.
24 months interest free.
Yes, do not pay a third deposit.
At Super Amart, you pay
No deposit.
with 24 months interest free.
Amazing Easter specials.
We're the biggest.
We're the best.
Look.
400 off.
200 off.
Top brand ensembles.
Queen for double.
And dining.
Not by price.
Unbeatable value.
Save on lounge suites.
Save on corner desks.
And this special Easter Saturday.
All Super Amart stores will be open.
So charge in early.
Plus Easter Saturday.
24 months interest free.
With absolutely no deposit.
Don't miss out.
Easter Saturday.
Super Amart.
Need a service? Well, at Kmart Tyre and Auto, you get a major service from just $129. With qualified mechanics, top brand parts and a nationwide guarantee, Kmart Tyre and Auto Service is just what you need.
Saturday, join in the fun.
We're going in.
Explore the magic.
The design is spectacular.
And enter the minds of these fabulous characters.
It's exciting.
The making of the Rugrats movie, 6:30 Saturday.
This is 10 News. 20 animal rights protesters have been arrested after a daring raid on a battery hen farm in Canberra. A senator was among the protesters. A warning though, the pictures in this report may disturb some viewers.
They called it a rescue mission, animal liberationists in a brazen pre-dawn raid. In the middle of it all, Democrat Senator Andrew Bartlett risking arrest.
People have heard of battery cages, but I think unless you see it for yourself, you realise the reality of what's involved.
The protesters took more than 30 chickens to a vet, claiming they were near death. For others, it was too late.
It's certainly a fairly confronting sight, yes.
There are 7 sheds just like this one, all up about 250,000 chickens. It's part of Australia's largest egg producer, Barter Eggs. The company's management is outraged by the raid. Boss Peter Barter says Parkwood passed government inspections just weeks ago.
Those birds are well looked after. There is a code of practice, but we look after them better than the code of...
But animal liberationists allege more than 500 breaches of the industry code. They want battery hen sheds closed.
Shut down. All these birds taken out and rehabilitated.
Police arrived later in the morning, but some protesters insisted on staying until an RSPCA inspection of the sheds. It was refused and police moved in.
20 people have been taken into custody for trespass.
Senator Bartlett was not arrested.
Fairly ordinary. Here it is Easter Friday. You know, it's a holy day, it's a religious day, and here's these hens all down there sort of causing all this aggro.
The raid will add pressure to local efforts to ban battery hen eggs. Gavin Morris, 10 News.
Another outbreak of the devastating Newcastle chicken disease has been discovered on the New South Wales Central Coast. 27,000 birds at this property near Gosford, north of Sydney, will be destroyed tomorrow.
Well, it seems to be confined to that one farm, and it's a relatively small number of birds.
Local chicken farms are now under quarantine to stop the spread of the disease.
I mean, a disaster to our industry because we can lose our livelihood.
100,000 birds were destroyed in the Sydney area last year when the virus was discovered at 2 properties. Newcastle disease only affects birds and is not harmful to humans.
And a threat to Australia's pearling industry from a marine parasite that's invaded the top end. Zebra mussels already found in Darwin marinas could be spreading.
It's a disaster for the country's pearling and fishing industries. Thousands of so-called zebra mussels have now been found in a 3rd Darwin marina.
Well, unfortunately, we've had to quarantine the entire area as a result of that infestation.
Here's a close-up look at the culprit. 2 centimetres long, but sending panic around our ports. They multiply at such an incredible rate. This chair found in the water has doubled in weight. Chlorine is being poured into the marina, and divers have gone in to find out just how bad the problem is.
And we'll be putting more dive teams in the water today to extend our survey and hopefully ascertain the true extent of this infestation.
All Australian ports have been put on alert for any boats that have been to Darwin in the past 6 months. The mussels will travel, but authorities hope the source is confined to the 3 Darwin marinas.
It's believed at this point of time it was spread on vessels and hasn't been spread by natural drift in the water.
The mussels originate in Central America and have already devastated marine industries in at least 4 countries. With their arrival here, Canberra is being called on for help.
Well, we certainly need federal government assistance, especially in checking the other ports in the Northern Territory.
Mark Gibson, 10 News.
An Army Reserve soldier wanted for killing a Melbourne man has died after shooting himself during a siege in Queensland. The young soldier was rushed under police escort to Royal Brisbane Hospital but died last night. He was the prime suspect in the shooting murder of 39-year-old Michael Daddock of Dandenong in Melbourne's outer east.
Military police have been assisting the state police since the incident.
The 26-year-old soldier shot himself in the chest with a civilian rifle at Brisbane's Gallipoli Army Barracks.
Melbourne police are investigating the discovery of a man's body found late this afternoon. It was found in a first-floor flat in the city's southeast. It's not yet clear how the man died, but the case is being handled by homicide detectives.
In Sydney, forensic tests have ruled out a car thought to be linked to the helicopter escape of prisoner John Killick. The 1986 Sigma wagon was located in Sydney's north and has been returned to its owner. The police satisfied it was not involved. Killick escaped after his girlfriend, Lucy Dudko, hijacked a helicopter last week, forcing the pilot at gunpoint to pick up Killick at Silverwater Jail.
In a reflection of Easter's compassion, scores of volunteers have poured into the flood-stricken Moora north of Perth. Some came from cyberspace to help the town back to its feet.
They came from all over the state, a small army of volunteers taking part in a massive Easter working bee.
They're everything from cleaning yards to spreading sand, helping in the kitchen, bar work, or anything that comes up that we can possibly help with.
Within minutes of dumping their swags, the volunteers spread out through the town. 13 days after devastating floods left a legacy of damage and heartbreak in almost every home.
This is not something we're going to fix overnight. This is going to take some months, in fact, to fix this.
But these volunteer workers, some from similar small farming communities hundreds of kilometres away, have answered the call for help. This inspiring flood of generosity, more than 150 people giving up their Easter break to help the people of Moora, gives a whole new meaning to the phrase Good Friday.
It's really united the town, and we're really all pushing for one cause, and I think in the long term I think we'll come out a stronger community.
This band of determined volunteers is also planning a special treat for the people of Moora. The whole town is invited to a big get-together on Easter Sunday.
Mate, we've got that much food here. We've decided to invite the town down on Sunday for a big barbecue. We'd love them all to come down. We've got Easter eggs to give the kids.
We've organised a band, we've got a sausage chisel, we've got a bar, and we're putting on for the community of Moora to try and help make their Easter a great happy one.
But for many, it won't be a happy Easter. Most of the hundreds of homes badly damaged by the flood were not covered by insurance, leaving a $4.5 million repair bill many can never hope to repay. Rex Hoare, 10 News.
And in Sydney, Easter brought a real surprise for one young family. With no time to call for help, baby Hoseman arrived on the bathroom floor.
All of a sudden it was a case of my waters broke and he turned up within about 10 minutes.
While daughter Ashley was in the lounge room unaware of what was happening in the bathroom, Dad acted calmly and swiftly.
I managed to catch him as he was coming out. Very slippery,
yeah,
and yeah.
Cuddled him and then waited for the ambulance.
So sudden was his arrival. The 4.5 kilo boy, or 10 pounds on the old scale, is yet to be named.
Let's take a quick look at what Good Friday provided as far as weather is concerned. Around the country today, Townsville scored the top temperature amongst the major centres with 31 degrees. A maximum of 28 in Brisbane, 18 in Sydney, 19 in Melbourne, 18 degrees for Adelaide and 25 for Perth. A complete look ahead at the weekend weather later in the 5 o'clock news.
After the break, can the Olympic transport system cope?
And would you sail an ocean in a craft made only of beer kegs?
7:30 Sunday. It's the game show where nothing's off limits.
When I think love, I want you to think of John Howard as your...
There will be no children born in 9 months' time.
Good Newsweek, 7:30 Sunday.
What I eat. Look, Domino's Meat Eater covers the 4 majors: beef, ham, bacon and pepperoni. Long live the carnivore! Domino's!
The Doorbuster Door Sale is on this weekend at Doors Plus for 4 days only. All stock reduced by up to 50%. You will save on bifolds, entry doors, interior doors, 10 light joinery doors, and locks, knobs and knockers. Plus we can fit, stain and deliver. Save up to 50% this weekend only at the Doors Plus 4-day Doorbuster Sale. Ends Monday. For a free measure and quote and huge savings, visit a Doors Plus showroom today. Doors Plus, no fuss.
25, 43, 23, and the subs are 11 and 38. Any luck?
Wouldn't it be nice to win $1 million, sharing every dream that comes along? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice?
It's the most amazing Easter Saturday ever.
Only at Super Amart.
Get no deposit.
24 months interest free.
Yes, do not pay a third deposit.
At Super Amart, you pay
no deposit.
with 24 months interest free.
Amazing Easter specials.
We're the biggest.
We're the best.
Look,
200 off.
200 off.
Again, 200 off leather.
And sofas.
What a choice.
Save on ceiling.
Save on Sleepmaker.
And this special Easter Saturday.
All Super Amart stores will be open.
So charge in early.
Plus Easter Saturday.
24 months interest free.
With no deposit.
Don't miss out.
Easter Saturday.
Super Amart.
What is Enerve? Enerve is sensational. Enerve is astonishing. And at just $105 per person twin share for the room and show package, Enerve is not to be missed. Feel the sensation of Enerve. Book now at Conrad Jupiter's.
The exotic East. Just one bite of a Hungry Jack's satay burger, and you're there. All for just $5.25. Peanuts, really.
The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Sunday, Fran's in tax trouble.
Why are they picking on me?
Could it be because you declared an adopted foreign child named Haagen-Dazs?
But it's not what you know.
You know who I am. Jane Leno.
On the Nanny, 6:30 Sunday on 10.
Northern Ireland's peace process failed to meet its Easter deadline, but at least there's agreement to keep talking. Britain and the Irish Republic say there's now a basis for agreement on the problem of disarming paramilitaries when negotiations resume later this month.
There's short pause for reflection there to make sure that we finalise it properly and bolt it down in every last respect.
The IRA's political wing, Sinn Féin, says it's disappointed the peace deadline's been missed, but unionists are upbeat.
I think we've made, actually, particularly in the last day, more progress than I expected.
Holocaust survivors are claiming a long-awaited legal first. For the very first time, a British court has convicted a Nazi war criminal.
78-year-old Anthony Savoniuk has had to face his past, found guilty of murdering Jews when he was a Nazi policeman during World War II. He hunted and killed survivors of the 1942 massacre in the former Soviet Union, where nearly 3,000 Jews were slain. One of the few who escaped death says it was a painful trial.
He was standing there at the trial as a witness. It was actually very hard, but he knew that he has to do it for those who are not with us today.
Another survivor says he saw Savoniuk shoot 15 women. Savoniuk fled to London after the war. When his past caught up with him, he turned nasty. But now he begins a life sentence for crimes he committed almost 60 years ago. It ends an investigation spearheaded by Scotland Yard's War Crimes Unit.
They had witnessed their families, that's mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, being taken off to be shot.
Savoniuk is considering an appeal. Catherine McKenzie, 10 News.
World maps will be redrawn from today with the creation of a vast new Arctic territory in Canada.